A machine has been designed to create a cancer drug. Not helped, not suggested, designed. And now that drug is going into human clinical trials. The company behind it? Isomorphic Labs, a Google-backed startup spun out of DeepMind, the same team that cracked biology's toughest code with AlphaFold. We're about to witness the world's first artificial intelligence-designed oncology drug enter human testing. Here's what that means for science, medicine, and the future of life itself. What are Isomorphic Labs? In 2021, DeepMind, already famous for creating AlphaGo and AlphaFold, spun out a new company, Isomorphic Labs. At the helm, Demis Hassabis, the neuroscientist and AI pioneer behind some of the most groundbreaking achievements in artificial intelligence. But Isomorphic Labs isn't just another biotech startup. It represents something fundamentally different. A reimagining of drug discovery from the ground up, powered not by biochemistry alone, but by artificial intelligence. Its mission? To reimagine drug discovery from first principles using AI. That means asking, what if we didn't just use AI to speed up lab work, but used it to rethink the entire drug development process? At its core, Isomorphic Labs uses state-of-the-art intelligence that can predict how proteins fold, revealing the fundamental structure of life, simulate molecular interactions at atomic precision, and design novel drug candidates entirely in silico, on computers, not in test tubes. This isn't a biotech company that uses intelligent tools. It's something more radical, an AI-first drug company, where algorithms don't just assist scientists, they are the scientists. And behind it all is Google's billion-dollar infrastructure, massive compute power, deep data libraries, and the same neural networks that defeated world champions and cracked the protein folding problem. Isomorphic Labs aims to close the loop between biology and computation, to go from a disease target to a functioning test-ready drug molecule, without ever leaving the digital realm. If it succeeds, it could cut years and billions of dollars from the drug development timeline. It's not just a new lab, it's a new kind of lab. The AlphaFold revolution. To understand how Isomorphic Labs is reshaping medicine, we first need to understand AlphaFold, the breakthrough that made it all possible. Proteins are the molecular machines that drive every biological process. They're made of long chains of amino acids. But here's the catch. Their function depends entirely on how they fold into complex, three-dimensional shapes. One small twist, one misplaced fold, and everything changes, from how a cell behaves to whether a drug works. For decades, uncovering a protein structure was painstaking work. Scientists had to rely on years of lab experiments, complex and costly X-ray crystallography, cryo-electron microscopy, NMR spectroscopy, as well as specialized teams of structural biologists and biophysicists. Then came AlphaFold 2. This AI system, developed by DeepMind, didn't just help, it leapfrogged decades of effort. In a single leap, AlphaFold could predict a protein's 3D structure with near experimental accuracy in minutes. What once took entire careers could now be achieved in a coffee break. AlphaFold 2 didn't just assist researchers, it solved what many called a 50-year scientific grand challenge, the protein folding problem. Now comes AlphaFold 3, and the revolution deepens. It can accurately fold proteins of increasing complexity, predict how proteins interact with small molecule drugs, simulate dynamic interactions between proteins, RNA, DNA, and even multiple molecules at once. This isn't just protein folding anymore. This is the beginning of true intelligence-driven drug design. With AlphaFold 3, we're not just understanding biology, we're engineering it. And it's happening faster, cheaper, and more precisely than ever before. This is artificial intelligence-first drug discovery, not just acceleration. Let's be clear, this isn't about making traditional pharma faster. It's about fundamentally reinventing how drugs are discovered in the first place. In the conventional model, drug development is a slow, expensive, and failure-prone process. It looks something like this. Identify a biological target, design a few candidate molecules, test them in the lab, refine over years, often through trial and error, and enter preclinical and clinical trials, where the majority still fail. The entire pipeline can take over a decade and cost billions. And at every stage, uncertainty is high. Now enter AI-first drug discovery. It doesn't just improve the old system, it changes the sequence entirely. Using powerful intelligence models, researchers can simulate a disease at the molecular level, screen millions or even billions of potential compounds virtually, predict binding affinity, side effects, toxicity, and molecular stability, prioritize only the most promising candidates for real-world synthesis and testing. The result? What used to take 10 to 15 years can now be condensed into 1 or 2. It's not just faster pharma, it's a distinct approach to drug development, This model treats biology like code and uses intelligence to debug and deploy solutions before a single vial is filled or a single animal is tested. It's a software mindset applied to molecules. The implications are staggering: faster cures, cheaper development, and more personalized medicine. What drug is going into trials? Isomorphic Labs hasn't publicly disclosed the name of the molecule yet, but insiders are already calling it the landmark in the history of medicine. What we do know is this: the drug targets oncology, likely honing in on a specific protein, known to play a central role in tumor growth and proliferation. And unlike traditional cancer therapies, this one wasn't derived from existing drug families, or based on years of accumulated lab data. It was designed entirely in silico, using AlphaFold 3. That means everything. From understanding the target protein's 3D shape, to simulating its interaction with thousands of potential drug candidates, to optimizing the final molecule's structure, was done with artificial intelligence before a single experiment was run in the lab. The binding mode, digitally validated. The toxicity profile, pre-screened with predictive models. The synthesis plan, simulated for feasibility before anyone touched a pipette. Out of thousands of compounds, this one made it through the gauntlet of intelligence-driven selection. It wasn't chosen by human intuition. It was selected through high-dimensional simulations, probabilistic modeling, and pattern recognition across massive molecular datasets. And now, for the first time, a molecule designed, optimized, and vetted entirely by AI is entering human clinical trials. This isn't just a modified version of a known drug. This is something fundamentally new, a molecule that may never have been discovered using traditional methods. It marks the beginning of a new era in medicine, where machine intelligence doesn't just accelerate discovery, it authors it. Welcome to the frontier. How AlphaFold 3 makes this possible. AlphaFold 3 isn't just an upgrade to AlphaFold 2, it's a leap into a new era of computational biology. Where AlphaFold 2 stunned the world by predicting the static 3D shapes of individual proteins, AlphaFold 3 goes far further. It can now model protein-protein interactions, mapping how molecular machines collaborate or malfunction, protein-ligand binding, showing how potential drugs lock into their targets, DNA and RNA folding, which play a key role in gene expression and disease, post-translational modifications, like phosphorylation and glycosylation, entire biomolecular systems, not as isolated parts, but as dynamic networks. In practice, this means AlphaFold 3 can simulate full-scale biological scenarios. It can model how cancer-associated proteins like EGFR, CRAS, or p53-fold interact with other molecules and drive disease. More importantly, it can model how to stop them with atomic-level accuracy. Thousands of molecules can be digitally tested in minutes, assessing their binding strength, molecular fit, toxicity potential, and even how they behave in different cellular environments. It can flag off target effects before they become safety concerns, and because it isn't restricted to naturally occurring shapes, it can generate entirely novel molecular scaffolds, structures the human brain might never conceive. It's the equivalent of running 100,000 lab experiments per second, but all inside a computer. No pipettes, no animal trials, no radioactive tracers. Just AI, modeling life at a level of complexity we've never seen before. AlphaFold 3 doesn't just interpret biology, it rehearses it, and that changes everything. This could radically reduce drug development costs. Bringing a single drug to market is one of the most expensive bets in science. On average, it costs around $2.6 billion, and that figure is only rising. But here's the truth. Most of that cost doesn't go into the drug that finally succeeds. It goes into the dozens, even hundreds, that fail somewhere along the way. The traditional pipeline pours money into failed candidates that looked promising in early tests but couldn't survive clinical trials. Years of wet lab experimentation just to tweak molecular structures, test solubility, or determine ideal dosages. Trial and error cycles that eat up time, resources, and human capital, with no guaranteed payoff. Intelligent's first drug discovery flips that entire approach. With tools like AlphaFold 3, researchers can simulate the full pharmacological profile of a molecule before it's ever synthesized. This means they can compress 10 to 15 years of research and development into 1 to 2 years. Dramatically cut materials and lab waste. Use probabilistic modeling to prioritize the best candidates, eliminating dead ends early. Most importantly, AI can now predict toxicity, absorption, metabolism, and binding affinity at scale, reducing the risk of expensive late-stage trial failures. The result? Cheaper drugs, because we're not wasting billions on failures. Faster cures, as top candidates move quickly from simulation to clinical trials. More personalized treatments, as AI fine-tunes molecules based on individual genetics and biomarkers. This isn't just about speed. It's about efficiency, accuracy, and accessibility, redefining what modern medicine can deliver, and for whom. Google's role and the power of compute. None of this happens without massive compute power. Designing drugs with AI isn't just about clever algorithms. It's about running a full-scale symphony of computation, integrating biology, chemistry, physics, and data science in real time. At the molecular scale, simulation requires vast and diverse biological datasets that capture proteins, genes, structures, and known drugs. Petaflops of processing power to run billions of calculations simultaneously, custom intelligence architectures that can parse chemical space, simulate interactions, and optimize structures. Cross-disciplinary teams of developers, molecular biologists, AI engineers, and data scientists working as one unit. This is where Google DeepMind becomes indispensable. Isomorphic Labs isn't just using Google services. It's fused into Google's core infrastructure. It operates entirely on Google Cloud, leaning on DeepMind's latest LLMs, advanced reinforcement learning systems, and proprietary bioinformatics stacks. The backbone includes Google's tensor processing units for lightning-fast training and inference, DeepMind's AI expertise, drawn from AlphaGo, AlphaFold, and Gemini, in-house biomedical databases accumulated from years of genomics, pharmaceutical, and clinical research. This isn't a biotech startup with a GPU cluster. It's a moonshot with servers, an industrial-grade, AI-native drug discovery engine. Google provides the computing muscle. DeepMind delivers the brainpower. Isomorphic Labs brings the purpose. Together, they're not just analyzing biology. They're authoring it, designing the future of medicine, one simulated molecule at a time. What it means for patients. If this new oncology drug proves successful, it won't just be another addition to the cancer treatment arsenal. It will mark a seismic shift in how medicine is made. This would be the first fully AI-designed drug to treat cancer in humans, created entirely through digital simulation, from target discovery to candidate design. More than a single success story, it would be a proof of concept that artificial intelligence can go beyond assistance and innovate at the molecular level, proposing structures, predicting behaviors, and solving problems no human ever envisioned. For patients, this could mean faster access to potentially life-saving clinical trials, precision-matched therapeutics designed to target the exact mutation driving their illness, new options for cancers that have resisted conventional treatments. And it doesn't stop there. Shortly, AI could analyze your genetic profile, identify disease-causing anomalies, and design a drug specifically for you. Not over a decade, but in a matter of days or weeks. That's not science fiction. That's what's being built right now. Pipeline 2.0 doesn't just speed up drug discovery. It transforms it into a personalized, adaptive, and intelligent system designed around the patient, not the protocol. The age of generic treatments is ending. The age of AI personalized medicine is just beginning. AI isn't replacing scientists. It's redefining science. There's a common fear that AI will replace scientists, but in the world of intelligence-first drug discovery, the opposite is happening. Isomorphic Labs isn't laying off biologists. It's hiring more than ever, but the nature of those roles is evolving. The lab bench is now surrounded by servers, code bases, and neural networks, and the scientists of today are learning to speak a new language, the language of intelligent machines. The new generation of researchers includes AI pharmacologists who understand both molecules and models, protein structure analysts who guide and interpret AlphaFold's predictions, computational chemists who design and test digital compounds, and prompt engineers who know how to coax the right outputs from complex intelligent systems. The scientist of tomorrow, part biologist, part coder, and part AI whisperer. The intelligence isn't here to remove the human mind from the process. It's here to expand our reach. It automates the tedious. It explores the impossible. It finds patterns we can't see and tests combinations we'd never consider. But it still needs human judgment, creativity, and oversight to steer the process. The future of science isn't man versus machine. It's man with machine. Together, they're not just accelerating discovery. They're redefining what discovery means. The ethical and regulatory questions. Intelligence-first drug discovery may be one of the most transformative innovations in medical history, but with great power comes a wave of unprecedented ethical and regulatory challenges. These aren't just extensions of old questions. They're entirely new ones. For starters, how do we validate an AI-designed molecule? If a simulation predicts perfect binding, minimal toxicity, and high efficacy, but the drug fails in human trials, who is accountable? Is it the company, the engineers, or no one at all? And what happens when liability becomes opaque, when no single person made the key decisions, but a series of neural networks did? Then there's the question of regulatory speed. Agencies like the FDA, as well as EMA, are built around decade-long approval pipelines. But intelligent-driven pipelines operate in months. Can oversight keep up? Or will policy always trail behind technology? More troubling are the equity issues. Will wealthy nations with more data and computing power gain early access to intelligence-designed drugs? Will pharmaceutical monopolies lock down personalized medicine while developing countries are left behind? And finally, could algorithmic bias slip into drug design itself? Could datasets skew drug discovery toward diseases that affect certain populations while ignoring others? Intelligent systems are fast. The science is advancing at breakneck speed. But ethics, oversight, and global equity? They move slowly and often reactively. To bridge the gap, we'll need new frameworks, including transparent validation protocols, defined liability models, international collaboration on standards, plus public accountability and equitable access. If AI is going to rewrite medicine, it must do so safely, ethically, and for everyone, not just the few. What's next for Isomorphic Labs? This first clinical trial isn't a destination, it's the launchpad. If the oncology drug proves effective, Isomorphic Labs is poised to expand rapidly with a bold roadmap that extends far beyond cancer. Next up, neurology and metabolic diseases, two of the most intricate and understudied domains in medicine where traditional drug development has long struggled. Conditions like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and rare metabolic syndromes involve complex networks of proteins, mutations, and pathways that defy conventional screening. But for artificial intelligence, it's a challenge worth simulating. In parallel, Isomorphic Labs is building strategic alliances with the world's top 10 pharmaceutical giants, aiming to plug its intelligence-first platforms into legacy pipelines. But they're not just enabling others, they're assembling their internal library of intelligence-designed, trial-ready compounds. Each molecule is fully simulated, ranked for efficacy, and ready to be synthesized and tested in record time. More than just a drug company, Isomorphic is becoming a new kind of research engine, and they're opening the hood. They plan to publish research on how AlphaFold 3 uncovered binding patterns and interaction mechanisms no human expert had seen before, offering not just new molecules, but new insights into biology itself, and what's brewing behind the scenes. Fully autonomous pipelines, where AI continuously designs, tests, and refines molecules without pause. Multimodal intelligent models that generate drug candidates from plain language prompts. Plugins that turn electronic health records plus genomic profiles into personalized drug blueprints. This isn't just what's next for Isomorphic Labs, it's what's next for medicine. Welcome to the dawn of biointelligence. A cancer drug, designed entirely by artificial intelligence, is entering human clinical trials. That sentence would have sounded impossible just 5 years ago. But today, thanks to AlphaFold, Isomorphic Labs, and the quiet firepower of intelligence-powered science, it's real. This isn't just about curing cancer. It's about how we solve problems from now on. If you enjoy solving problems, like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the moment artificial intelligence medicine and humanity converge. Tell us in the comments, would you trust a drug if it were designed entirely by artificial intelligence? Or do you still want a human in the lab? Thanks for watching. Stay blessed and stay curious.